Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and I got some more Throne of Eldraine previews to go over with you. We're going to recap and analyze the cards that came out over the weekend. So this will be a shorter video. We only have 6 cards today. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. Bartered Cow. This is not a bad limited card. This one's at 3/3 for 4, so it's like a fine curve filler. When this dies, or when you discard it, create a food token. So I'm curious to see if there's going to be some good discard outlets, or maybe other cards that follow this pattern, or if this is just a random thing they put in there. Regardless, though, other than just being a fine curve filler, this is going to be especially good if your deck cares about food tokens, or just artifacts in general. This one's a Spanish language preview, loosely translated Fires of Invention. This one's a rare. It's a little complicated. Let's break it down. Red and 3 enchantment. You can only cast spells during your turn, and you cannot cast more than 2 spells each turn. Okay. You can cast spells with converted mana cost less than or equal to the amount of lands you control without paying their mana cost. So basically, forecasting cost enchantment. While this is out, you can only cast spells on your turn, so no reacting to anything on your opponent's turn. And you can cast 2 spells for free, basically. However, they can't cost more than the number of lands that you have in play. So what do I do with this thing? In Limited, it might be a little bit haphazard because your deck is going to want to be at least a little bit crafted with this in mind, right? Because if you have a lot of instants, for example, they're not going to be as strong if this is in play. Also, maybe you don't have enough creatures with activated abilities to take advantage of this. There could be draft or sealed decks where this does make sense. But remember, if you're behind and draw this in a game of draft or sealed, this is not going to feel very good at all, right? Now, yes, you could play this. You could try to get advantage by playing maybe 2 creatures per turn, for example, when normally you could only play 1. And if you have a good mid-range build, perhaps, in the limited environments, and you can keep this thing on the battlefield, well, more power to you. You might be able to find some value there. Now, this card gets better if you can, of course, build around it a little bit. There's a few combos you could do with this. In Brawl, for example, Repeated Reverberation and Sundering Stroke, which we saw the other day. Also in Commander, I'm sure there's tons of things you could do with it there, but you could use Soulfire Grandmaster and Time Warp. That's a combo. So there are a lot of ways to probably make this card very powerful in the correct deck. You can probably think of a number of other combos too. What about Standard? Could you actually pull this thing off in Standard? Well, I suppose that combo example I gave with Brawl would be Standard legal. I don't know how consistent that would be, though. You'd have to find a deck that could consistently take advantage of this, be okay putting it out on turn 4, and also be okay not interacting on an opponent's turn. That feels like a tall order. But maybe someone will think of something. This is such a weird card, I'm definitely not going to count it out. I do think it will shine the most, though, probably in Commander. Giant Opportunity. This is a good limited card right here. I like this one a lot. It's an uncommon. It's obviously going to be good in the food strategies for draft or sealed because this is one of the more economical ways, maybe the most economical way we've seen so far to give food tokens. You can get 3 food tokens here for a green and 2. That equates to 1 mana per token. That seems pretty good. Even if you don't have anything else great to do with them, that's a lot of life you could be gaining, especially against an aggressive matchup. That feels decent. But ultimately, there are a lot of things you can do with these tokens. We've been seeing it over the last week and a half now. Also, later in the game, you can play this, sacrifice 2 food tokens, and then you create a 7/7 green giant creature token. Now, that creature doesn't have trample or evasion, but 7/7 is real sizable. And if everything goes your way, maybe you could do that on one of the earlier turns of the game. Seems like as long as you have some cheap ways to make food tokens, that's not out of the question. Tall as a Beanstalk. Okay, I'm not as high on this one. This one is a common. You could use this in a draft or sealed deck, and it might be okay for you. But here's what I don't like about the card. An aura that costs a green and 3, that's a lot of resources, and it does open you up for the possibility of being 2 for 1. This aura isn't replacing itself or doing anything to make it kind of worth your while that if your creature does get destroyed in the sense of going to the graveyard along with it, you're not getting any sort of bonus benefit. Now, +3/+3 in reach is pretty good. It does feel a little counterintuitive, though, in some ways, because giving something +3/+3 makes me feel like I want to attack in with it, whereas putting reach on it makes me feel like it wants to be more defensive. So it does give you versatility, right? If you're getting beat down by some big flyer or something, this could slow that process down a little bit. At the same time, if I could put this on an evasive creature, yeah, I might be able to slam the door on a game. So there is definitely some good reward here for the risk. And we have seen a few cards that care about enchantments under your control. Personally, I probably would not main deck this, but I would bring it in if I was having trouble with flyers in particular in Game 1. Clockwork Servant. This is actually a pretty sweet card for Drafter Sealed. I like this one a lot. I feel like there's good economy here as long as I can put 3 of the same color into the casting cost. So that's not always going to happen maybe, and if it doesn't work out, I still get a 2/3 for 3, which is not the worst thing in the world by any means. But if I pay at least 3 mana of the same color, I also draw a card when this enters the battlefield. That's really where you want to be, a 2/3 that replaces itself. That's phenomenal for the limited environment. Now, I believe it was on Friday that we talked about the possibility of drafting a monocolored deck, and I do think you can pull that off in draft if everything goes right. This would probably be best in a mono blue draft deck, because blue seems to care about artifacts, and again, as much as possible, you really want to be able to draw the card off this. Hedge Walker. This one I'm not as high on. I think it's fine. You don't want to play a 2/2 for 3, so you're not playing this card unless you're very confident that you're going to be able to put 3 of the same color mana in there. So probably a mostly one color deck, right? Now, even if that's the deck I'm running, and it's probably going to be a draft deck more so than a sealed deck, then I might still not always play this because a vanilla 3/3 is pretty good, but it might not be the best thing you have. Sometimes creatures with even lower power and toughness that have better abilities could be a better playable than this. So there's nothing wrong with this card in the example where you can get a 3/3 for 3, but again, that's not guaranteed all the time depending on your deck build. Again, maybe it's at its best with blue. That does feel like the color that cares the most about artifacts. Ultimately very playable in certain decks, but it's not always going to make your cut. Okay, those are the cards for today. Tomorrow we're going to return and cover everything that gets revealed over the next 24 hours or so. But until then, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.